Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 272 for November 29th, 2022. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On today's show, the College Football Conference Championship game matchups are set, and the Washington Commanders unveil a statue, and I'm using air quotes here, of the late Sean Taylor. In this week's history lesson, we have part 2 of our conversation of the greatest offensive and defensive unit nicknames in football history. But I'm not here by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son Adam.
Third time's the charm. We'll see if we get this recording going because...
Technical difficulties
and then Randy calling the Commanders the wrong team name made me go, and we got to start over.
I got to put some money in the wrong team name jar.
Yeah, but it's not on audio because it was deleted, so... Did it really happen?
No harm, no foul. We come to you each week from the World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we post the entire audio portion of this show, as well as other selected videos. So, let's begin today's show with Adam and the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right. We had that Thanksgiving weekend. Hopefully everybody filled up on turkey and all that extra good stuff.
Still having a food hangover over here.
Food hangover. Wow. So, I don't think there's such a thing as a football hangover because we got a lot of it, especially on Thanksgiving Day, which got started by the traditional Lions game, which saw the Lions fall to the Buffalo Bills 25-28 on not quite a last-second field goal, but pretty much a last-second field goal.
Well, when you take the lead you tie it up, with 23 seconds to go, and you give up a field goal, I don't know how many yards they went to get that, but
a long way. They shouldn't have been able to. But.
No, if they had better clock management, that never would have happened. I'm not as devastated by this loss as I have been in years past when you just they had a total collapse. They didn't really collapse. It was time management by the coaching staff that let this one slip away. It never should have happened.
And a few defensive plays that was like, if you just covered that man, a little tighter, like it would have been.
Yep.
But look, I think the national media and everybody is taking notice. I mean, especially Tony Romo. You watching that game? Tony Romo proclaimed that the Lions are real. Mm-hmm. We might not have won this game. He's like, they may not win this game today, but they have proven so far that they are a legit team. So everything is moving in the right direction. Does it suck losing that game? Of course. I was on the edge of my seat for most of that game. My back hurt. I was on the edge of my seat so much during that game. I had to stand up at our Thanksgiving dinner that evening.
Yeah.
So, hey, it is what it is. The Bills are a great team.
Yeah.
Maybe not as good as people think because, the Lions hung with them for the most part.
They went toe-to-toe with Buffalo, score for score.
I think better than a lot of people
thought.
Right
till the end. Yep. They played well. They could run the ball. They were passing the ball well. Their defense played well. They played, like I said, toe-to-toe with them for 59 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah. And you just...
that last 30 seconds
it's hard
was awful.
to combat, Josh Allen magic because dude's special, and he slung that ball 50 yards down. Well, maybe not 50. It was like a 30, 40-yard pass to really get him rolling after one play. And, that's tough. Congratulations to the Bills. But, hey, I think this might have been one of the best Thanksgiving slates we've had. A lot of entertaining games because we're going to move on to the Dallas Cowboys defeating the New York Giants 28-20, and I had no idea, but this was the most watched NFL regular season game of all time.
Really?
Did you not see that news story? That was all over the place. It was like the most watched regular season football game in NFL history.
No, I saw the one about the Ohio-Michigan State game, but that's
different. That's good. We'll talk about that's college. Come on. Stop getting ahead of me. But, this was the most watched regular season game ever. The Cowboys beat the Giants 28-20, so... Another one-score game in this one. I thought the Cowboys controlled most of this game anyway. New York kind of came back there, just to get within 8. But, this was Dallas's game. So, and they at least got to wear their throwback-ish uniforms, while Detroit wore their ugly all-gray color rush uniforms. So I don't know what we were doing. At least Dallas did it right.
Like you were saying, Detroit should have worn their throwbacks. The solid silver helmet.
Thanksgiving Day should be all throwbacks for everybody. I don't get it. Like Minnesota ended up wearing their color rush uniforms. But at least the Cowboys did it right, which I hate saying. They at least did it right. The Giants look good in their uniforms no matter what, so I mean, give them a pass. But yeah, so Cowboys win that one, and then the Thursday night game, technically the Thursday night game, but it was the NBC game.
Right.
The Vikings took that one 33-26 over the New England Patriots. I didn't really get to catch much of this one other than I saw that some Vikings players really balled out. Justin Jefferson still doing great things. Adam Thielen had a good game. Kirk Cousins had a good game. It was just, a good game all around, it looked like. So I didn't see anything else from that game. Did you?
No.
All right, then we're going to move on to the Carolina Panthers beating the Denver Broncos 23-10. Russell Wilson under fire by his own teammates. I don't know if everybody saw the highlights of the defensive player getting in his face, yelling at him.
The sidelines, yeah.
Boy, oh boy, is Russell Wilson going to get benched?
I don't know. A lot of money for a guy that's not playing very well
and
this
for
year.
A team right now that's going to have a top 5 draft pick, it looks like they might as well start looking for a quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know.
And we'll talk about Russell Wilson a little later. You got something for him?
Yep.
All right. The Cleveland Browns won against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in overtime, 23-17. What a crazy way they ended up winning that game. I think it was a nice touchdown pass there at the end to just seal that puppy up.
Yeah, nice to see Tom Brady blow it in overtime.
Yeah, blow it in overtime. Didn't they say he had not lost like an overtime game or something?
Well, he had never been involved in a tie game
that's what
in
it was.
his career. So I'm thinking to myself, oh gosh, it looked like it was going to end in a tie.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, there's one more stat for him to hang his hat on.
For the 4th time this season, the Baltimore Ravens have blown a lead as the Jacksonville Jaguars came out with a victory 28-27. But, the Ravens had a chance there at the end as Justin Tucker came out to kick a 67-yard field goal, which would have been a new NFL record after he set his last year in Detroit that I was there for and that I hate talking about. So I was rooting for him to make this kick so I never had to hear about the Detroit one ever again.
Right.
And, of course, it was short.
Yeah, just short.
He's practicing 65-yard field goals in the pregame, but apparently 2 more yards was a little too much to ask for.
When I saw it at first, I thought it hit the crossbar, but it was a couple of yards short of the crossbar. But, man, that was close.
Yeah. And so, congratulations to the Jaguars. And also for letting your mascot run around in a Speedo.
Oh
that was
God,
something else.
That was terrifying to see.
Hey, that's going to be an all-time NFL clip now. I bet you they're going to put that picture in the Hall of Fame. All right. The Miami Dolphins defeated the Houston Texans 30-15. The New York Jets defeated the Chicago Bears 31-10. The Jets kicker, Greg Zuerlein, I think, had a big field goal in the rain to go into the halftime, which I was just blown away by. That was a heck of a kick there to go into the half, but they beat the Bears 31-10.
Ugly uniforms by the Jets.
Yep, they wore their all-black uniforms,
Terrible.
which I'm not a fan of.
No.
I even texted my buddy who's a Jets fan, and he doesn't mind the black uniforms. He likes them, actually. I just miss their old white ones when they changed with the Giants. Like the year them and the Giants both switched to like those permanent throwbacks that they always had.
That was awesome.
Great. I miss those Jets uniforms.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Cincinnati Bengals got a win over the Tennessee Titans 20-16. The Bengals quietly staying in the playoff race. They haven't really made as much noise as they did last year, but quietly staying in the playoff hunt as they beat the Titans there. The Washington Commanders in their all-black uniforms defeated the Atlanta Falcons 19-13.
Another ugly all-black uniform.
Not a fan of that black uniform of theirs either.
W in the front. Oh, gosh, what a mess.
Yeah, so, we'll talk about the Commanders more in a little bit. The Los Angeles Chargers got a last-second victory over the Arizona Cardinals, 25-24. I think Austin Eckler with that game-winning touchdown there at the end of the game. And I think they went for 2, actually, to take that game.
Yes.
So, ballsy decision there by Los Angeles to take that victory over the Cardinals. And the Cardinals now at 4-8, that Hard Knocks team that everybody was thinking would be a playoff team. And, oh, boy, even the Kyler Murray came out and was questioning the schematics of his team's offense. So, coaching staff not really making Kyler Murray very happy.
Is anybody really watching the Hard Knocks with Arizona?
Haven't yet.
We haven't seen a single episode.
I haven't heard anybody talk about it.
I don't know. Maybe only the Arizona fans are watching that show right now. But I just this in-season stuff I do not care for.
Yeah,
but it's awful. But
it's a little different because we're all during the regular season, everybody's kind of paying attention to the whole league anyway. So we already know what's going on with that team.
Right.
I don't care. But at least in preseason, how many people are focusing on other teams during the preseason. They're mainly focused on
Right.
everybody's roster. Like if you're a Packers fan, you're really just into your Packers roster. If you're a Colts fan, you're really into your Colts roster. Same with the Lions, but nobody pays attention to the Lions. So that's what Hard Knocks is for. Like I wouldn't have given a crap about the Cowboys the year before Hard Knocks or Buccaneers the year before.
Right.
But yeah, so in season Hard Knocks, I haven't heard anybody talk about it.
Yeah, it works in preseason, but it does not work in season. I'm sorry. Another thing, this was this game was won on a 2-point conversion at the end of the game as time was running out, and so was that Baltimore-Jackson game. So 2 games this week decided on a last-second 2-point conversion for the win to win by 1 point. Very interesting.
And then how about this? The Las Vegas Raiders defeated the Seattle Seahawks 40-34 in overtime, but not on a very, very quiet play. It was a big 86-yard touchdown run by...
that was awesome.
By, oh boy, why is his name escaping me?
I couldn't tell you who it was.
Josh Jacobs, the running back for the Las Vegas Raiders. I only know that because fantasy football.
Oh, God.
But, all of a sudden he went from having like 20-something points to 48 points after that one play. That one play alone brought in so many points. It was just crazy. And as a game winner on top of it, what a crazy way to finish out that game.
Yeah. So 2 games went into overtime, and 2 games were ended by a 2-point conversion. So a lot of strange things going on this Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah, it was interesting.
Then the Kansas City Chiefs got a win over the Los Angeles Rams 26-10 as the Rams keep falling apart. And
the Rams are improving Detroit's draft pick with every loss. So
I think they would have the number 3 pick as of right now.
Yeah.
And it would go to the Lions. So if you're a Rams fan, that's got to sting a little bit that your GM's like, to heck with those picks. I mean, you got your Super Bowl.
Right.
So thank you for helping Detroit out and giving us another top 5 pick.
Yeah, I feel bad for Stafford, second concussion in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. His season's probably over.
Yeah, he may not even come back.
Cooper Kupp's season's probably over.
Cup's out. Man, the team is just really falling on some hard times this year. Thank God they got their Super Bowl, and Stafford can always be, referred to as a Super Bowl champion quarterback. I like that, but I want to see him tank the rest of the year so that Detroit gets a really high draft pick.
Yeah.
And then we've got another one that we can either use and get another great player or trade it and get more draft picks.
I'll be curious to see the names we can put in that we got for dealing Matthew Stafford. So we can already put Jamison Williams, who might play this week.
Well,
I want the new number 9 in Detroit.
I don't want to rush him back.
But then who would the Lions pick with this number 3 pick? Is it the replacement quarterback? Is it going to be some stud defensive player? Who knows? That's what I can't wait to see. Like for Matthew Stafford, we got Jamison Williams, and then we got who else? Is it Bryce Young? Is it that stud defensive end, I think, from Georgia, I want to say is a lot of people are talking about. I'm not. Hey, I know the Lions normally right now we're talking about draft. We don't have to talk about draft really because the Lions are at least still technically in the playoff
in
hunt.
the hunt. Yeah, they're
on that graphic.
Right at the bottom of the in the hunt people.
Yep. That's how we know we're still in it, guys.
Right there next to Green Bay.
We made it to the graphic.
We're ahead of Green Bay because we beat them.
Yeah. 49ers beat the Saints 13-0. Then your Sunday night game, the Eagles beat the Packers 40-33. Aaron Rodgers getting hurt in this game, and Jordan Love came in during this game.
Yeah.
And then Monday Night Football saw the Pittsburgh Steelers defeat the Indianapolis Colts 24-17. So that is it for your NFL scores. And now we can toss over to Randy because we had some big college games this weekend.
Yeah, we did.
What a great weekend all in all.
Yep, this is Week 13, the last technical week of the regular season in major college football. And number 1, Georgia defeated Georgia Tech 36-14. Number 3, Michigan upset number 2, Ohio State 45-23. And like I said, I saw a graphic board. This game was one of the highest rated college games ever.
Oh, I'm sure it was. I mean, I think this is the first time Michigan has beat Ohio State in Ohio since 2000. So it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
22 years since they have won a game in Columbus, Ohio. I was out of town on Saturday. I was at the movie theater, but we were watching the game on a phone. So they went into halftime down.
In the movie theater?
We were out in the lobby.
Okay.
But it was 20-17 going into the half. Then we went into this movie. 2 hours later, we come out of the movie. I check in my phone after the movie. I see that Michigan scored, 25 or no, that would be 28 points in the second half.
A lot of big plays in the second half.
Ohio State only scoring 3 points in the second half.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. But Congratulations to Michigan. We got the playoff rankings tonight. Will Michigan jump Georgia? Will Georgia stay number one? Who knows? There's a lot of stuff there, but Michigan still has to. All these teams got to win their conference championships, which we'll talk about after.
Yeah, Michigan, I think, will at least be number 2.
Oh,
but
for sure.
There's an
top
argument since Michigan beat the number 2 team, and Georgia beat an unranked team, that maybe that would cover a little more weight.
They're also talking about Georgia's biggest game this year doesn't match doesn't match a Michigan beating an Ohio State. So
we'll see. We'll see tonight. And then it was number 4 TCU over Iowa State, 62-14. Then of course we had several upsets. There was Texas A&M upset number 5 LSU 38-23. Number 7 Alabama over Auburn 49-27 in the annual Iron Bowl. It was South Carolina upsetting number 8 Clemson 31-30. Number 21 Oregon State upset number 9 Oregon 38-34. Mississippi State upset number 20 Ole Miss 24-22 in the Egg Bowl. Kentucky upset number 25 Louisville 26-13. NC State upset number 17 North Carolina 30-27 in 2 overtimes. And our Western Michigan Broncos defeated Toledo 20-14. Western Michigan finishes the season with a 5-7 record. Tim Lester's only losing season in the 6 years I think he's been in Kalamazoo.
5 or 6 years.
And they fired him the other day, so or yet I guess just yesterday.
Yeah.
He was let go, which
Bit
is
of
a
a surprise,
shame.
yeah.
He was a great player when he was there. He led him to the MAC championship a couple times.
Took him to a couple bowl games the last few years.
Yep.
I mean, he had a winning record as a head coach here, so I'm very shocked by this one losing season. And he's out.
Yeah, I always thought he was a good fit for the team. I mean, former player comes back to his alma mater and alma mater.
Alma mater, hello, fada. Okay.
And was doing good things. He was good for the team, good for the community. I really hate to see him go, but
it makes me question: is it the fact that maybe they're not recruiting as good as they should be?
In the statement from the school, they said that they're looking at in 2 years the playoffs are going to expand to 12 teams, and they're talking about that. If you're the MAC champion, you might get an automatic bid. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either.
But it would certainly help. So they want to to be MAC champions year in and year out. So I don't know. I guess they thought maybe he wasn't quite good enough to get him over. We interviewed him on the show a year or two ago, and a great person, a lot of fun to talk to. Former XFL player for the Chicago Enforcers. But sorry to see that happen. But it's college football, but it's still kind of a business where you got to worry about getting those wins in there.
So now the big question is, who do you draw to a Western Michigan to consistently get to that bar that you want?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they'll promote from within or they'll go outside and
I would assume with this big a decision, you're going to want outside hire, so we'll see what happens.
Well, we had, what's his name? The PJ Fleck. We had him, and that's a hard act to follow, PJ Fleck. Took us to an undefeated season several years ago and went to the Cotton Bowl. And so, and then he left for Minnesota. So, it's kind of a tough act to follow, and I think they're looking for more of that.
I'm sure they could find another similar coach that's just kind of been on the rise, so we'll have to see. I'm sure there'll be eager coaches out there that want this job. So
I hope so. Kalamazoo's a great place. All right, military academies. Navy did not play this past weekend, but Air Force did, and they defeated San Diego State 13-3. And Army was also in action. They defeated Massachusetts 44-7. So right now, this coming weekend, we have all the conference championship games at the FBS level. So starting on Friday night, you're going to have in Conference USA, you're going to have North Texas versus UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio, the Roadrunners. And also Friday night is the Pac-12 championship game between USC and Utah. And then on Saturday, you've got the Big Ten championship between Michigan and Purdue, the SEC title game between LSU and Georgia. That should be a good one. The Big 12, Kansas State and TCU. Mountain West, Fresno State versus Boise State. In the MAC, it's going to be Toledo and Ohio. The Sun Belt Conference, Coastal Carolina versus Troy. In the AAC, it's UCF and Tulane. And in the ACC, it's Clemson and North Carolina. So that's all going to happen this Friday and Saturday. So we'll have all their final things.
And
then
Sunday we'll have the playoff laid out before us. So.
Yep. Probably the semis and a lot of the bowl games are going to start getting filled up. All right, moving to the FCS level. I'm sorry. This is the first round of their playoffs this past weekend. It was Furman over Elon, 31-6. Weber State over North Dakota, 38-31, and Richmond shut out Davidson, 41-0. At the Division II level, it was the second round of their playoffs. Ferris State over Pittsburgh State, 17-14. Grand Valley State over Northwest Missouri State, 13-9. And the Colorado School of Mines over Minnesota State, 48-45. In Division III, the second round of their playoffs continued, and it was Mount Union over Utica, 45-7. Aurora over Alma College here in Michigan, 48-26. And Wartburg over St. John's of Minnesota, 23-20. In the NAIA playoffs, it was their quarterfinals this past weekend. Number 12 Kaiser of Florida upset number 1 Morningside of Iowa, 29. I didn't get the final score. I got 29 to question mark.
Oh, jeez.
But anyway, they upset them. Morningside has been, I think they've won a championship the last year or two.
How hard is that? Let me just look up Morningside.
Well, let me get the other 3 games in their quarterfinals. It was number 2 Grandview of Iowa over number 8 Lindsey Wilson of Kentucky, 10-7. It was number 3 Northwestern of Iowa over number 7 Marion of Indiana, 52-27. And number 5 Indiana Wesleyan over number 6 Benedictine of Kansas, 24-13.
Oh my God! I can't believe you couldn't do a simple Google search to find the Sioux City Journal posting that Kaiser upset Morningside 29-28.
Okay.
Jeez. Wow. It takes him 8 days to fill out
I had all the numbers, but
it took me 3 minutes to figure this out.
I don't know why I had question marks on that. I had all the scores in front of me. Okay. Let's see. The junior college level, their playoff semifinals are coming up this week. There was no action this past weekend, but these games are going to be on ESPN+. December 3rd, it's going to be the Division III championship, and it's going to be DuPage versus North Dakota SCS. Also on December 3rd, the Division I semifinal game. Division III is their championship game, so they'll be all done. It's DuPage and North Dakota SCS. And then 2 semifinal games in Division I. On December 3rd, it's going to be number 1 Hutchinson versus number 4 Coffeyville. And the next day, December 4th, it's going to be number 2 Northwest Mississippi versus number 3 Iowa Western. And finally, in college scores, it was the 57th Vanier Cup played up in Canada, in London, Ontario, actually. And the Laval Red and Gold defeated the Saskatchewan Huskies 30-22. So Laval is your 2022 Vanier Cup winners. And that is it for this week's World of Football scoreboard. It's getting a little thin in the college scores now, getting down to the nitty-gritty. All right, we're going to move on to some NFL news.
What about breaking news? We have a trailer finally for that 90s show coming to Netflix, everybody.
Is this what you do while I'm over here reading and trying to do a podcast?
Yes, I'm watching trailers for that 90s show.
Thanks for paying attention.
What?
In NFL news, a man jumped a fence at the Cleveland Browns Stadium, somehow got into an F-150 pickup truck, and did donuts on the field. The damage was still visible when the Browns played the Bucs last weekend, and they're saying that the damage may not be totally fixed until after this season.
See, I don't know. Did they catch this dude? Did they?
I don't think so. You said you saw some.
There was like security footage of this guy doing the donut.
I didn't see any, so I don't know. I don't think they've caught him yet, but did he hotwire this truck, or were the keys left in it, or what the heck was it?
I don't know, but man. Yeah, you seeing those tire marks on the field with something
great
else.
Big circles on the field, and they were trying to fix it, but
there's some guy there in Cleveland, like at home with his buddies, saying that was me.
Yeah,
I did them their donuts over there.
Yeah.
Look at them donuts there on the TV. That me.
That's too bad. And then they wound up winning,
Yeah.
that game against the Bucks. So.
1-0 with the tire marks on the field.
Leave them. This story's been out for a couple of weeks, and I've been trying to get to it. I keep forgetting about it. 6 stadiums, playing fields, have been deemed unsafe by the National Football League Player Association. Those 6 stadiums are the Cincinnati Bengals, Detroit Lions, Indianapolis Colts, Minnesota Vikings, New Orleans Saints, and the New York Jets and Giants field, since they share the stadium. And according to the article I read, it's something called a slit film surface. I've never heard of this. I thought these were all field turf. That's the only term I've ever heard was field turf. That was the big thing for years. They did away with the AstroTurf many years ago, and now it's all field turf stuff. But now they're using this term of a slit film surface. I have no idea what that means. But these are the surfaces that they're saying are statistically higher in game injury rates. So basically they're involving non-contact and lower extremity injuries, ankles, twisted ankles, broken ankles, that sort of thing. So yeah, this was a new one on me. Slit film surfaces. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up what exactly the term means. It's not really popping up on a quick Google search other than the articles about the playing surface.
Yeah.
But so I'm wondering if a few of these teams are going to be spending some pretty pennies over the offseason to fix up their field.
Could be. I think it's been a while since Detroit put down that field turf. I don't know how many years it's supposed to.
I don't know. I thought they redid it like a few years ago.
Yeah, I don't recall. That's the one where they had the ground up tire pellets.
Maybe that might have been the process before that one.
I don't know.
Name the last time you've seen those come up, after a tow drag or something. It's been a while, so I'm wondering if they got.
Yeah, I haven't seen them this year.
There you go.
Huh. Oh, the Washington Commanders unveiled a statue the other day. They kept calling it a statue, and everybody was excited for this statue. And when they unveiled it, it was nothing more than a clear plexiglass mannequin with a Redskins helmet and a jersey and pants. And well, you read the article. They said it was all stuff that he never wore. It was Nike brand stuff.
People were pointing out all the different combinations of this uniform that from a distance looks exactly like a uniform that he would have wore. Mm-hmm. But everybody was pointing out it was like a Nike, it was like Reebok pants, which he never wore. It was like a Nike jersey, which he never wore. Mm-hmm. It was like there was no tape on his helmet, which he did all the time before a game. So a lot of the attention to detail just didn't seem there. And I think the area where they put it up looks nice, but I mean, everybody noticed like it was just hanging up a jersey. It was like a mannequin holding a jersey. Wow, what's so impressive about that? And
it wasn't like one of his game-worn jerseys or maybe his actual pants that he wore in a game, or that would be one thing if it was his actual uniform that he wore while he was alive and playing. But this thing was an embarrassment.
It was, you see all these outlets, all these people, like you watch the video when they unveiled, there was some cheering at first, but then I think the realization settled in that, wait a minute, this is just a mannequin. You could hear a couple of boos.
Yeah.
But it was just, befuddling a little bit. Like, why would you do, like, I get wanting to honor that player,
sure.
But like this, oh boy, the Washington Commanders have had enough, bad press lately, just throwing this on the pile. And then when I saw the breakdown of all the different, like the shoes, he'd never wore those cleats before. That was part of this ensemble. Like just the lack of forethought into this whole thing just shows how this organization just doesn't think and doesn't, go through the steps to make sure they're doing some good stuff here. And oh boy,
it's just another screw up by this team that has had so many screw ups in the last few years. I can't even count them anymore. It's just they're such an embarrassment, and now this was just another one. Taylor was shot and killed during a home invasion back in 2007 at the age of 24. He was the 5th overall pick in the 2024 draft by Washington, and he played 4 seasons with the team. This is embarrassing. It really is.
Somebody, I'm just going through an article here. Like somebody pointed out that the cleats, they're using Adidas World Cup cleats. And you can see that it says World Cup underneath the shoestrings on the right shoe. So, like, cleats he's never worn. like I said, he's got the Reebok pants, which he never wore. The jersey is like one of the current NFL Nike jerseys, which he's been gone for about 20 years now. He never would have worn that jersey. There's no tape on the helmet, just all these little things that just make it very much apparent that they just, didn't really think about this.
Yep, no, it's sad, and I feel bad for the Washington fans. Honoring a player that tragically died during a season. In fact, I think it might have been the anniversary of his passing when they unveiled this the other day. So that's sad. But on a lighter note, or on a more positive note, say what you will about Patriots owner Robert Kraft, but he has loaned out the Patriots team jet to the University of Virginia so that the players on the team can attend the 3 different funerals for their teammates who were shot during a mass shooting last week. That's an awesome gesture.
Yeah,
I know he's loaned that jet out before. The Boston Renegades women's football team a couple of years.
Yeah, so we've talked about the jet before on
Yep.
Actually a few times on this show. I mean,
Right.
I think initially when they got the jet, and then finally now.
Right.
But we never even talked about the unfortunate passing of these 3 players. I mean, it was something that just didn't make it to the rundown. I mean, it was covered to.
Yeah, I don't like talking about the bad stuff. This is supposed to be a fun show. People come here to laugh, hopefully, listen to us,
laugh at you,
kick around, trying to be serious, whatever. But yeah, so we try and stay away from the really sad stuff, and this was definitely something that was very sad when the 3 players were
and like I said,
shot by a former player.
It was covered, frontwards and backwards by all the media. So, I mean, what could we add to that situation?
Right.
Probably not a whole lot.
But this was an awesome gesture by Robert Kraft and the team. So,
and I believe
kudos to them.
I believe the Commanders or the Ravens wore decals on the back of the 3 players.
Yep,
last
wore
week and
stickers
this
for
week,
the 3 players. Yep, I do remember that. And finally, you just brought this to my attention a little while ago. The LA Rams want their season ticket holders to donate their tickets to the Christmas Day game versus the Denver Broncos to charities, so there will not be a lot of empty seats that day. I mean, nobody's going to want to go see these 2 losing teams on Christmas Day when they can be home with their families, and it would look bad for the NFL.
I can't believe how bad
if SoFi Stadium
attendance is at this stadium sometimes. It just baffles me. Like, you got or had a Super Bowl winning team there.
Right.
The Chargers have been actually pretty decent, but it's always packed with other teams' fans.
Yeah.
So it makes me constantly question, did LA really even need 2 teams? Did they need that? I mean, the stadium is gorgeous. It's great. I would love to go see it.
Yep.
But I'll be there with a bunch of other Lions fans. I'm sure we'll out show up the Rams fans if we go.
Who knows?
But yeah, so a little bit of an embarrassment there. Like, hey guys, please just give your tickets to charity. Don't just not use them so that they're empty
let
seats.
some people who would never get a chance to afford a ticket to the stadium come and see a game, and we won't look bad on television.
And as long as you're not giving it to Denver Broncos fans.
Yeah, there you go. I don't even know if Broncos fans would want to go on Christmas Day to
go see Russell
L.A.
Wilson.
Yeah, see Russell Wilson run that team. Okay, that's it for NFL news. Something came up the other day that a lot of people won't be aware of, but there's possibly a new indoor football league being created or being talked about.
Right here in our backyard?
Yeah, the Great Lakes Arena Football League. And this is a new league that's being talked about forming mainly by the Muskegon Ironmen, who've been around for about 7 years. And I've been to see some of their games. Before then, they were the Muskegon Thunder, who played in a league around here. And we used to have a lot of indoor teams here in the state of Michigan and Chicago and Indiana, Ohio. We've been to a lot of games. I covered a couple of teams from this area. So right now they're saying that Muskegon wants to own the league, and they want to start up the league and actually run the league because, as I said, they've been around for about 7 years, and they've been members of a couple of different leagues, and they've had some success. They've been a good team. In fact, they went to the 2016 championship game of the American Indoor Football League, and they lost to the Columbus Lions, who the Columbus Lions are still around. They're looking for some stability, and they already have supposedly a team in Battle Creek, which is about 10 miles from here, called the Battle Creek Smoke. They used to have a team called the Battle Creek Crunch, and if you look up there on the shelf, you'll see a Battle Creek Crunch helmet that I got when I covered that team. They were around for 1 year in a league called the Great Lakes Indoor Football League. That was in 2006, and then the next year they moved to Kalamazoo, became the Kalamazoo Explosion, and the league changed its name to the Continental Indoor Football League. Kalamazoo Explosion had one of the greatest mascots ever.
Well, let's not get
Explody the Coyote. It was a great name, and he was such a cool mascot. There's a picture of you on our website with Explody. Just a good time. But, yeah, they're talking about getting teams from Chicago and Ohio and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, possibly in this league. So, I don't know. Will it happen? Won't it happen? I know the Ironmen have been around for several years. They've competed. They've done a fairly good job, when they have competed. But
they got a good fan base. But I mean, this just sounds like starting up a fantasy football league just so you can win it every year. That's what this sounds like.
Well, who knows? We don't know if it's going to work or not. Like I said,
because they said they want it to start in February, and that's just a couple months away.
Yeah, really. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it, but if it happens, great. If it doesn't, well, we've seen this before. All right, Peyton's Places, Season 3, Episode 5 on ESPN, premiered on Sunday, and I watched this. I know you didn't, but this episode was called Every Underdog Has His Day, and it starts out with him on a frozen lake in Minnesota doing some ice fishing with former Vikings Hall of Famer John Randall. They started out in like a fabric little tent for ice fishing, but then they moved to a different one, which was like a little apartment. It had a wood floor with a couple of holes in it. They were sitting in some nice chairs. They had a microwave and a TV, and it was like the Taj Mahal of ice fishing shanties. So that was kind of cool to see this. But they talked about his career and how he went from an undrafted free agent to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and so that was kind of a good discussion. I learned a lot about John Randall I did not know. And then the other one was quarterback Kurt Warner, and that was interesting because they were at the grocery store in Iowa where he used to stock shelves. And
I saw that bit online, him being in the grocery store, and I'm sorry, that was not the best acting I've ever seen.
Yeah, but it was still fun, for him to go back to the store where he used to work before he was, when he was nobody, and it was kind of fun seeing him passing a couple of paper towel rolls in the paper aisle with the diapers and stuff. That was funny. So this was another good episode. So check out Peyton's Places on ESPN Plus. 5 episodes so far this season. Probably at least 5 more to go. So this has been a really good season for Peyton's Places. I've enjoyed every one of them. Let's see. We're gonna skip arena football on TV on YouTube because I didn't see another new one yet this week, so maybe next week we'll have something to talk about. Today's birthdays, November 29th. The big one is your mother's birthday.
I was going to say, I was waiting for that because that was definitely not the order it was written in the script.
I know.
I was like, the big one, he's like, oh man, he's going to, oof. Nope, you did it.
Yep.
Good for you.
Your mom's birthday is today. But the other one, lesser known, is quarterback Russell Wilson.
I see what you did there, yeah.
Turns 34 today.
Do you think his teammates even care? Do you think his teammates are just I
don't know.
All we want for your birthday is for you to get better?
Yeah. But he played his college football at Wisconsin and North Carolina State, which I did not know. He was a 3rd-round pick in the 2012 NFL draft by the Seattle Seahawks, and he played there from 2012 to 2021. And, of course, now he's with the Denver Broncos this season and struggling, to say the least.
Still more bathrooms than he has touchdown passes.
Yeah, you talked about that last week.
Yep.
So, yeah, happy birthday, Russell.
Good luck.
Wonder how many of his teammates are coming to his birthday party.
At this point, I would say none of them are.
All right, let's move on to obituaries. We have one obituary this week. This is where we take a moment and honor those who've made the world of football a better place. And our lone obituary is that of George Donnelly, a defensive back in the NFL for 3 seasons, has passed away at the age of 80. Donnelly played college football at Illinois and was selected with the 13th overall pick in the 1965 NFL Draft by the San Francisco 49ers. He was also selected in the 4th round of the 1965 American Football League Draft by the Denver Broncos. He signed with the 49ers and played for San Francisco from 1965 to 1967. So not a very long career, but a very high draft pick, and condolences to his family. All right, any more breaking news before we get into this week's history lesson discussion?
Not really breaking news, and it's kind of football related. But if by football in the States we call it soccer. The U.S. men's team did beat Iran 1-0 and will head to the knockout round of the World Cup.
Good for them.
Yeah, we don't really talk football here.
Right, yeah.
We talk American football.
But yeah, it's good to see him win and move
but I
on
do
to the
think
next
the
round.
deal was if we got further than England, that England would have to change football to soccer. I thought that was the rule, and England, we're going to hold you to it.
Is that something their prime minister and our president
They better sign a doctrine or
something?
something because we can't have two footballs in this world. You lost not the Civil War. You lost the Revolutionary War to us. I think we get to call what football is football, and we pick the game where we literally don't even put the foot to the ball all the time.
Okay, well, let's
And
move.
in other breaking news, did we talk about the fact that there is a trailer now for That 90s Show, which is a sequel to That 70s Show, and it
You
will be
talked
on
about
Netflix.
it, and you won't shut up about it.
Red and Kitty are back with the next generation for Red to berate, and I am there for it.
Jeez.
Hey, you love That 70s Show.
Yeah.
I love it when you sigh and you're like, let's just move on.
Yeah. Let's just move on. All right.
Move on to what?
This week's history lesson.
Oh.
It's part 2 of our discussion of the greatest offensive and defensive unit nicknames in football history. And this is our colorful edition this week. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. The first one we're going to talk about is gangrene of the New York
I had that
Jets.
once. Oh, okay. I was going to say I had that one summer.
Yeah. The New York Jets, it was the nickname for the entire team, not just the offense or the defense, but the whole team. The nickname began during the Rex Ryan era in the 1980s, has been used by fans to distinguish their team from that other team in New York that plays in the same stadium.
You
as
sure
they do.
Rex Ryan wasn't a coach back in the 80s? Was Buddy Ryan a New York Jet coach?
No.
He was with the Eagles.
Another one
I think you got that messed up.
No, from what I read, it was Rex Ryan. Anyway.
But he was there in the...
Maybe he was an assistant coach. I don't know.
I don't know.
But the term gangrene is still used today when people refer to the Jets. And since 2000, there has actually been a fan website called thegangrene.com where fans can catch up on all the latest and greatest news about the New York Jets. So, gangrene, that's a pretty cool nickname. And speaking of that other team, they have a nickname, or had a nickname called the Big Blue Wrecking Crew. New York Giants of the 1980s, and while they were using that nickname, they won 2 Super Bowls. This crew included Lawrence Taylor, who went on to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Gary Reasons, Harry Carson, another Hall of Famer, and Carl Banks. So some great players on that Big Blue Wrecking Crew back then.
See, okay, I think you must have done a bad Google search because they were just gangrene from their fan base for the Jets. And when Rex Ryan took over, they kind of said, "Oh yeah, this just represents our team." But Rex Ryan didn't take over till like the mid 2000s, 2010 or something around there. He was only a coach for a little bit. He wasn't there in the 80s, so I think you goofed that up. And we're gonna get Jets fans. We're gonna chime in and let you know otherwise. I'm just saying.
You want to write next week's history lesson?
I'm good, but yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
It was used by the New York media in the late 70s and early 80s, just so you know.
Well, excuse me. Moving on. The Silver Rush. This was used by the Detroit Lions from around 1978 to 1983, and this was because of their defensive front, which included, for a short time anyway, Curly Culp, who went on to be in the Hall of Fame. But the main players in this defensive front were Doug English, Dave Purifoy, William Gay, and Al Bubba Baker. Bubba Baker, I'm telling you, he was awesome as a Lions player. He played there for several years, then he went to the Cleveland Browns. But yeah, he was something else. I think he was Defensive Rookie of the Year in the league his first year. But when you think of the Silver Rush, you think about, the offense, the rushing players on the offense. And they did have Billy Sims in 1980. Barry Sanders didn't come around until 1989, so he wasn't really part of this. But in this instance, they're talking Silver Rush as far as like the pass rush or the defensive front rushing of the quarterback. Moving on, the Purple People Eaters from the Minnesota Vikings of the 1970s. This group included Jim Marshall, Alan Page, who was inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Gary Larson, and Carl Eller.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I had to look back at the other one. Yeah, it was Harry Carson and Carl Banks for the Giants, and then here for Purple People Eaters, you had Gary Larson and Carl Eller.
Carl Eller, of course, a Hall of Famer in
Yes.
2004.
Yes.
Same year as Barry Sanders, by the way.
And finally, the Orange Crush defense. You don't remember that. I remember this very well. The Denver Broncos of the late 70s and early 80s. And this was their entire defense. It just wasn't the front four. It was all of them. They included players including Reuben Carter, Randy Gradishar, Tom Jackson, Joe Rizzo, Bob Swenson, Lyle Alzado, Barney Chavis, Bill Thompson, Bernard Jackson, Steve Foley, and Lewis Wright. Heck of a defense they had. I mean, and they used that for so many years. It just seems like, and they were wearing those orange uniforms with the blue helmets, and it just seemed to fit.
Yeah, we have a team in our fantasy league called Orange Crushing It.
Really?
She's a Denver Broncos fan.
Okay.
So Orange Crushing It. Yeah, so I'm familiar with the name.
Okay. So just to recap, this week's 5 teams with the most colorful nicknames are Gang Green, the New York Jets, Big Blue Wrecking Crew, the New York Giants, Silver Rush, the Detroit Lions, the Purple People Eaters, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Orange Crush from the Denver Broncos.
Yep, all great, colorful nicknames. Rainey might not have had all the details on all the nicknames, but hey, that's what he do sometimes. He works very hard on the rest of the script. This one could slip through the cracks.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that backhanded compliment.
You're absolutely welcome, Father.
All right, upcoming events calendar. Saturday, December 10th, the 122nd playing of the Army-Navy game in Philadelphia. That game is going to kick off at 3 p.m. It takes them forever to get all the students and cadets from each school to parade in and take their seats. Let's see. Saturday, December 31st, college football semifinal playoff games. It's going to be the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl are the 2 bowls that are going to be played on New Year's Eve to determine who will play in the College Football National Championship game on Monday, January 7th at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles.
Monday, January 9th.
What did I say?
You said the 7th.
Oh. Because I was thinking that game's not going to have any trouble being sold out at SoFi Stadium. The Rams might, but not this game. And then finally, February 12th on a Sunday, Super Bowl 57 in Glendale, Arizona. And that's everything I had for this week. Anything else you want to mention before we bring this show to a close?
Did I mention that Netflix dropped a trailer?
Yes, you did. We don't need to talk about that anymore. Well, that's all the time we've got for this week.
Wow, beat me to it.
If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we have done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
Hey, guys, we're on Facebook. Look for us for The World of Football, TWF Kalamazoo there. You can also find our Twitter. The address is @TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted every Tuesday and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Our YouTube channel is The World of Football Kalamazoo, so please go find that. Subscribe to it, rate, review, give us a like, leave us a comment. We love interacting with people because having football conversations is what we do.
Oh, you're done. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than we do. Until next time, I'm Randy Snow.
Oh, you're done. And I'm Adam Snow.
Oh, you're done. And we'll see you next week.
Oh, we're done. And stop.
How long was that?